I'd like to call this meeting of the City Council to order, please. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Carr? Here. Councilmember Panduro is sick. Councilmember Sandu? Here. Councilmember Tonneson?
Here.
Councilmember Williams?
Here.
Vice Mayor Bertani?
Here.
And Mayor Moy.
I am here. And our invocation tonight will be presented by Michelle King, MD, Freedom from Religion Foundation, and the Satanic Temple.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to give today's invocation. I'm honored by your show of unity and acceptance and your willingness to listen. I'll not ask you to bow your heads, close your eyes, or clasp your hands. I'll ask that you rely on your honesty and integrity as you seek guidance in making decisions to fulfill your goal to promote the common welfare for all in our community. Per the research, with more than a third of Fairfield citizens who identify with no religion or who are atheist, I would ask the council be guided by compassion, fairness, equity, and reason as you reach decisions that are beneficial for all of us who share this community. We come from different backgrounds, we believe different things, we have different cultures, but we all share this community in common. I also ask the council to use facts and logic tempered with compassion and empathy, to be guided by the principles of inclusivity and fairness, to respect the autonomy of each individual in our community, and to represent the interests of a diverse community for all constituents as you make lasting, well-informed decisions that will impact the lives of those who you serve. Thank you.
Thank you. And tonight, if I could have, let's see, Councilwoman Williams lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we will start now with council reports, and we'll start with Councilman Sandu.
Alrighty. Pull up my phone here. It's hard to remember everything. I guess just a couple of things. I think alongside some of my colleagues, had the pleasure of attending the famous Creations grand reopening
Yeah.
in downtown Fairfield over the weekend. And then before that, we had a chance to go with some of my colleagues here to Valley Keel's opening for their tasting room in Sassoon Valley. Saw a lot of friendly faces. And then coming up this week will be the MCE board meeting. So it's one of the committees I'm on. And then had a chance to talk to President Padu from the Travis School Board. And one of the conversation points was just kind of foot stomping the importance of completing Markley Lane in the near future. It's really important for kind of the safety of that neighborhood, for the school district. But it's definitely a challenging project to kind of, finding funds is always hard, but it'll take time. But I'm glad that we're like inching forward slowly, kind of as government does move, but it's good. So excited to see Markley Lane kind of move forward, and yeah, I think that about sums it up, Mayor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think we had something recently on the agenda, or where did I see Markley Lane, something that was moving? Anyway, maybe I was dreaming. No, but it is moving forward. So, Madam Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for coming out, everyone. Thank you for watching from home. Always good to have you here in the chamber with us. Just a few reminders. We have a Landscape Oversight Committee meeting this Thursday at 5 p.m. to be held at the Fairfield Operations Facility at 420 Gregory Lane, 5 o'clock for the Landscape Oversight Committee meeting, where we'll continue our discussion regarding LLMDs and other landscape issues in the city that this Oversight Committee is helping us out with. I also want to remind you that the Clergy Action Network, or Fairfield CAN, will be having our first annual Fresh Food Festival at Anna Kyle Elementary School and that will be on Wednesday, the 26th of March at 12:30. And the goal of this event is just to provide fresh food and vegetables to families at Anacile Elementary School, which is situated in what has now become a term of art called a food desert. So the Clergy Action Network, along with its partners throughout the community, will be there just standing there and helping people obtain fresh food and vegetables for their families. We look to do this at other schools in the community. This is our first time doing it, and I'm very thankful for all of the gracious support and donations that we have received to date. I want to remind you of the Hope event, which is going to be on April 30th at Liberty Church on North Texas, and that is a Wednesday from 12 to 2, and that is headed by our homeless services team and Samantha. If you want to come up really super quick, is that okay to just say a few words about the Hope event? It's a huge event for our homeless residents and the service providers, and it's a great opportunity to get a lot of help, all situated in one location. Samantha?
Yeah, so we do this biannually, and this time, like she said, it'll be at Liberty Church, so off of West Texas over there. And we're going to have a lot of different providers come out, social services, there'll be mobile showers, there'll be veterinary services for like vaccinations and microchipping for animals, housing resources. We usually have anywhere from 30 to 40 vendors that'll be there, and then we usually provide lunch. But it's a really good way. It's a one-stop shop for folks that are unhoused or just at risk or just need some resources to come.
Thank you, Samantha, and thank you for doing a great job with that. And of course, there'll be free food galore. And the last thing I'll have is, of course, our National Day of Prayer, which will be hosted by the Clergy Action Network and many other community participants. That is going to be on May the 1st here in City Council Chambers from 12 to 1 o'clock, and everyone is cordially invited to attend our National Day of Prayer. All right, that's my report. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Doug, please.
No report this time around, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, and Councilman Tonneson, please.
Thank you, Mayor. So we're pretty excited in the pickleball world. We've got a professional tournament coming here. It's the PPA, it's Professional Pickleball Association, and we're expecting a huge crowd. George Kennedy and I have been, George Kennedy is our Planning Commission chairman. We've been working on this for quite a while with a good team. So the dates are August 24th through the 26th. We're talking to some major sponsors, and it's just been, it's a really exciting time right now. And then I want to talk about, thought this was going to be a short list, but it's not. The Solano County Best came out, and I live and work in District 2, and there was a couple of the businesses that were chosen as the number one. So I started writing a couple of them down, and there's about 15 or 20, so I'll be quick. Monsoon Burger, Best Fries. Pearson's Appliance, Best Service Repair, Best Appliance. These are just District 2 businesses, not counting anybody else, but Evelyn's Big Italian, Best Pizza. Dave's Burger, go Armio. Hopkins Honda, Bryan and Breaker, Butter Pecan, Fairfield Post-Acute Rehab. Scandia wins that every year. Oh Young Chiropractic, Math Masters is on Main Street, Texas Street. Lucky Jelly Donuts, Barney and Russum, Dutch Brothers, Kenwood Hearing Center, North Bay, Best Hospital, The Oil Connection, Holy Spirit School, Best Private School, Caliber Collision,
all District 2, all out, the Caliber Collisions out in the Auto Mall. Safe Light, window repair. The Downtown Theater got some really great love too. And the Jelly Belly tours. That's my report.
That's a heck of a report there, sir. Thanks for bragging on your district. And those are all great businesses, backbone of our city and always in the country, too. Councilwoman Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. So I also wanted to say that Valley Keel had a wonderful event. I really appreciate our vintners that are investing in Fairfield, Sassoon Valley. And this tasting room is just a beauty. So definitely just go and visit this location. I also did some pretty cool things related to food. One was I invited myself to the lunch mob that the City of Fairfield I think it's the Economic Development and Planning and Community Development team. So I invited myself to their lunch mob at Thai Orchard grand opening. The food was so good, 1500 Oliver Road in Fairfield. So that was a lot of fun. Also, I got invited to, and thank you, it really was a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. You all are so funny. And so I got invited to hang out with food influencers, Instagram food influencers. And what they did is they kind of did a mob too, where we all went to Marina Lounge for their brunch in Sassoon City. And what they did was we were teaching each other how to use the camera and how to really maximize lighting. And this is like 10 influencers that get together, all do that, take pictures, eat, laugh. So we did that. And of course, I had my own motive for going. I wanted to eat. But I wanted to invite them if they would come to Fairfield and do the same thing. And then trend up different Fairfield restaurant. So they said yes, they will do that. They do that once a month. I have invited myself. So I will be going with the, they call themselves Vallejo Eats, but we're going to hashtag Fairfield Eats, and I'll be hanging out with them. The last thing that I wanted to talk about is an event that's coming up. It's the Heart to Heart Tour 2025. Yay.
Yay.
And and thank you for your vision for that tour. I thought 2 years ago, when we all did this tour, I thought it was excellent because we really got to hear from the community, see what they were thinking. They had amazing ideas. They were able to bring stuff to us that I didn't know were issues and problems. I don't know, it was just so insightful. And so we get to do it again, and we're starting with District 1 first. I did see the marketing go out. I'm asking, can it go out again? Because still a lot of people don't know about it. Unfortunately, when you go first, that's what happens. That first one doesn't have as much traction, but I'm saying, can we put the gas on it and give it a few more send out so people get to know about it? But it's this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 at Cordelia Library. And in District 1 is Cordelia Green Valley. Part of Cordelia is Mr. Tonneson. But please come out. It's a great way to get to know your city better, anything that's going on. By the way, you don't have to just be in District 1, Cordelia Green Valley, wherever. If you're free, Saturday, come. You'll get to know the different city departments, and you can ask them any and everything. It's very insightful. And you'll see a lot of us too. So that was the end of my report. Thank you.
I just have one question. Can I come with you with the food influencers? Okay, because I am influenced easily by food. I would love it. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm serious too. I can show them how to take pictures, but yeah, that'll be fun. And, okay, so I have a couple of things to report. One is that Councilwoman Panduro and Councilman Tonneson and I went to the Adult Recreation Center, I call it the Senior Center still, and we had a fantastic time. We had corned beef and cabbage, and the place was packed. And everybody was duded out in their green for, their Irish green. And it was so fun. And one thing that was hilarious was, and it makes sense though, right? I guess last year they increased the price to $15 instead of $10, and not very many people came. They put it back down to $10, full house. And so, it was fantastic. And the people who volunteered there, I spoke to one woman, and she had lost her husband. And I told her, I said, you just look so great, because I've known her for a while. And she said, she says, I needed to get out because I was going to die at home. And so she started volunteering down there. And she goes, now they're all my children. Actually, some of them are older than her, but anyway, they're all her children. And she's lost like 30 pounds. She's healthy and happy. And that's what the ARC is about. It's about people getting together. So I'm going to start going to bingo, and I'm going to win. I don't know how to play bingo. I did it when I was younger, but I'm going to be down there. So if anybody wants to join me, we're going. It's on Friday nights, bro. Okay. All right. This last week, I call it Hell Week because I have like 4 night meetings. It was just crazy. Anyway, we put together at the STA, which is the Solano Transportation Authority, a committee on the Highway 12 corridor, the part that's through Solano County, which is a good stretch, right? And so I and the mayor from Suisun City and the mayor from Rio Vista are all there, and then we have other folks and staff who are fantastic, really know what they're talking about. And so what we're going to be doing is having a study done. There hasn't been a study on that corridor since 2009. Now, we all know that it's a mess, right? It's 2 lanes, it's a mess. But you can't get state or federal money unless you have these studies. So we're going to be doing that. And so if anybody has any, ideas or thoughts about that, please email me, and I will include that in what we're doing. I talked a lot about, of course, the traffic there, the danger, we used to call it Blood Alley, and then also the importance of ensuring that we are making way for Travis, the base, to have easier on and in and out into there because it's very busy. And in the unfortunate world, if we end up having some kind of conflict in the east, we're going to need to move faster, and Highway 12 it stops things up. So that was one thing I just want to report on that. And then the other thing is, at our executive committee yesterday for our sewer district, the Fairfield Suisun Sewer District. So both city councils sit on that, and we are asked to give service to a development that's in Suisun Valley. And in the executive committee, we said, not so much. We need to see a plan from Solano County about what they want to do in there. Now, there are a lot of reasons that you'd want to give, sewer out to the valley, especially in the long run, because of the failures of these systems out there that each individual place has. We're not, but hotels are going in there, large wineries are going in, processing, and that's a lot of effluent, that's a lot of stuff going out. And we already know that like Suisun Valley Creek is being affected by the poopies that are coming out of people's place. So we need to do something to protect the environment in the long run and not further cause issues with the wildlife in there. And so we're waiting on the county over there, Miss Monica. Let's get a report going. And that's all I have. I think that's all I can do right now. So thank you very much. And Mr. City Manager, anything with you?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just 2 items tonight, both agenda related. The first is we will be pulling item K2, and it just goes away. That was a authorization for a grant application for the Emergency Solutions Grant. We placed it on there prospectively because of timing, to where if the city was selected to move forward in the grant process, we wouldn't have had time to come back to council prior to the deadline for application. Unfortunately, we weren't selected for moving forward in that, so it's kind of a moot point at this time. So we'll pull item K2. It won't need to be considered. And then the second is just an announcement on item M2. Last Friday, the City Council had held a special meeting in these chambers at 2 p.m. Where the majority voted to continue the public hearing to a later date. At this point in time, I think we've settled on April 15th is when that date will be. We will be required to renotice that public hearing as a continued public hearing, which we will do here in the next couple weeks in order to meet the timeline requirements. But M2 is continued. It's not on tonight's agenda. That's all my report, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney.
I have nothing to report. Thank you.
Thank you. And Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to announce there are still 2 seats open on the Landscape Oversight Committee for District 2 and District 6, and I believe there are applications in the back lobby on the table. If not, you can email cityclerk@fairfield.ca.gov, and we can send you one. And then also the Fairfield 101 Civic Academy, which is open to the public, that starts May 7th. And the applications are due April 11th. I believe the website is fairfield.ca.gov/academy. If you Google it, it'll pop up. And you can always email me as well if you have questions. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councilman Tonneson, I think you have a request to close the meeting tonight in the honor of, you want to mention that?
Yeah, we lost an icon in the real estate / martial arts / just a great community leader in Eugene Ray. He passed away a couple of days ago, and I've asked the mayor tonight to close in his honor, and thank you for accepting that. And I really appreciate it, Kat. He was a great man.
He was. Thank you, Councilman. Okay. And so now we will turn to presentations, please.
Yes, we just have the one presentation, proclamation and poem declaring National Women's History Month, presented by Mayor Moy. And she will be presenting it to the Fairfield Twin Sisters Service Unit, and their troop leader is Sherry Scarrett, and she has a couple of the Girl Scouts with her.
Good to see you all. You know how I love my scouts. You can come around here if you want to. You too. You don't want it? Come on, girl. We'll get some. We'll have some. Somebody
After
else
the
will take
proclamation,
pictures, right?
after the proclamation, we'll have the
All
poet
right.
laureate read the poem.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, here we go. National Women's History Month this month, 2025. In 1978, Women's History Day began in Sonoma County, California, and was championed by Gerda Lerner and the National Women's History Alliance to be recognized as a national week in 1980, and then be recognized as National Women's History Month in 1987 in the United States, then spreading internationally after that. Right here in the Bay Area, we started that. That's the way it's done. National Women's History Month is celebrated annually this month in March. The theme for 2025 is Moving Forward Together. women educating and inspiring generations, and also includes International Women's Day, which was March 8th, a global day celebrating the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. This theme celebrates the collective strength and influence of women who have dedicated their lives to education, mentorship, and leadership. And women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. Women also served as early leaders in the forefront of every significant progressive social change movement. And despite these contributions, the role of American women in history has been overlooked and undervalued in the literature, teaching, and study of American history. Women have continued to play a critical role in economics by constituting a significant portion of the labor force and have served a unique role throughout history by providing the majority of the volunteer labor force. And women were essential in the establishment of early charitable, philanthropic, and cultural institutions. Women are natural-born leaders and serve our country courageously in the military, law enforcement, as first responders, and in public service. And therefore, I, Catherine Cat Moy, Mayor of the City of Fairfield, I do hereby proclaim the month of March as National Women's History Month. I ask our citizens to celebrate the multitude of women's contributions to our community and the world at large, and to celebrate their strength, their courage, and their wisdom. And this is for you all. I'm so proud of you, leaders, and I know about you because I try to stay in touch, and I also know your leader there. So, oh, she's over here. We didn't even have to ask. Come on, girls. Up, back. Yeah. Come this way. Against the wall. Aw, thank you, guys.
Sherry, move in just a little bit.
Come on, Sherry.
There we go. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Let me just comment that March is totally appropriate to be Women's Month. Girl Scouts celebrated their 113th birthday last Wednesday. So, thank you.
Come on up. We have some beautiful.
And now we have our poet laureate, Michael Wiley.
Yeah, you bet. All right, Mayor Moy, council members, members of the public. First off, I want to thank you for this opportunity, of course, to present to you a new poem for Women's History Month. And I'll share with you that as I composed this poem, I reflected too on the power of story. The stories we tell, of course, but also the stories that we subvert, the stories we conceal, and that how we tell our stories matters, as allies, as feminists, and perhaps even as parents. And in this spirit, I would like to present to you the poem titled Medusa Crowned, one I've dedicated to my two daughters, Eleanor and Annalicia. So this is Medusa Crowned. Do you remember those evenings? How we read from storied volume, all those layered Grecian pages? Why did we love Medusa so, do you think? Maybe the way she stumbled into another's story, her suffering a remedy for divine violence. Medusa the calamity, as if futile victim to ill-fated wave. A father's conundrum. The refrain of Perseus's triumph, always, how dare she? Never, why is her power painted as poison? But tonight, I think you and I can do better by the Gorgon. Let's recast her sentinel mold with a crown of serpents, each named coil aegis against those who would reduce her rage. Marie Curie, who cradled radium's ghost, the helix oracle of Rosalind Franklin, celestial cartographer Katherine Johnson, the silent tempest of Rosa Parks, Maya Angelou's chiseled truths, comet-spun Simone Biles, the unbowed syllables of Malala Yousafzai, the algorithms of Ada Lovelace, Dolores Huerta's cry, "Si se puede," storm-voiced Greta Thunberg, and you, daughter. These are Medusa's true epithets, the ones we should chisel on the steps of oceanside altars, their echoing rebels' rhythm, all the blade we need to carve new myths, to march with every woman, to sing of our daughters who stride ahead, unbound, rewriting world. Thank you.
Something when I was listening to him, I always love our, we need to put together a book of all the poems that they have written for us since the beginning, and, you know, put it together so people can see them, so they don't just disappear. Would you work with us on that? I just think that would be a great thing for us to have.
And just so everyone knows, Michael has a page on our website. It's fairfield.ca.gov/poet, and I put each of his poems on there. And our
Perfect.
past poet laureate, Suzanne Bruce, we had a page for her as well.
So they're there as well?
I have to check.
Well,
If
thank
hers
you.
are still there, but we can make them
perfect.
available.
It'll be easier that way as we put them together. Just a good historical document, and
For
I
sure.
like to go back and read them.
Yes.
Yeah, that blew my hair back, Medusa. Thank you, Michael.
Yes, thank you, Michael.
Right. So now we're going to turn to public comments, please.
Yes, persons wishing to address the city council on subjects not on the agenda, but within the jurisdiction of the council may do so at this time. The council cannot discuss or take action on matters not on the agenda for this meeting, but council members may briefly respond to statements made or questions raised by the public, ask for clarification from staff, refer the matter to staff, request staff to report back to the council at a subsequent meeting, or place the matter on a future agenda. If you're online to speak on an agenda item, please use the raise your hand feature or press *9 on your phone. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes per item as determined by the mayor. And our first speaker is Monica Brown. Actually, she's our only speaker. And there isn't anyone online, actually, so.
All righty, thank you.
So before you press the button, Kat took me home on Thursday night. It turns out it was the fuel pump.
I was wondering.
Yeah. So life is always so much fun when you're at the water agency, right?
Yes, it
Okay.
was really fun.
So, dear Monica, I am one of your constituents who lives in Vallejo, and I have been alerted to a disturbing email from the ALA, American Library Association, about an executive order signed on March 14th to eliminate the Institute of Museum and Library Services, IMLA. This is the federal agency that provides funding partly for the national libraries. In 2024, the IMLS provided $267.7 million to national libraries, museums, and cultural institutions. As we both know, public libraries need all the funding they can get, and to lose a significant amount of income would be devastating to a number of services provided by our wonderful Solano County libraries. Programs like children's events, informational events, like helping seniors with legal and tax information, personnel, and literacy ESL programs. These are all provided free via our libraries and an important part of allowing all people access to books, information, and even computer access. These libraries are a lifeline to the elderly, but I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir about their importance. What can I do to communicate my concerns and perhaps revise this terrible budget cutting maneuver? So I emailed back and said, I'm here tonight, and so I'm going to be, preaching to the choir here. But I don't think people understand everything that's being cut because we don't know what's all being cut. But for me, libraries that's where you go. That's where you go and read everything. And I mean, like Michael, that was awesome. So I just want to bring it out here. I know Garamendi is having another town hall tomorrow, so I'll see what I can do to get the information out to him. But we need to be careful what's out there that's being cut. We are very fortunate in Solano County that we passed that sales tax, which is 0.1% in order to maintain our libraries. They are maintained by the county, but you guys are even going to be there this weekend at the Cordelia one. So we're very fortunate that we have it, but these are things that are important, and we need to be paying attention as to all the stuff that's happening in D.C., more than we have time to talk about, but I now have made my promise to my constituent, and I'm sure the word will get out that I always keep my promises.
That's right.
Take care.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Supervisor. All righty then. Anybody else to speak publicly?
No, she's going to speak again on item M1, but
Okay.
she was the only one for public comment.
Okay. And so then we will go ahead and move on to the consent calendar then.
Okay, all matters listed on the consent calendar are to be approved with one motion unless a member of the city council or the public requests that separate action be taken on a specific item. And you'll be voting for everything but item K2, which our city manager pulled.
All right. Any questions on this?
So moved.
So moved. And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that was unanimous. All right. And now,
Sorry, I didn't catch who made the second. Thank you.
and now we'll move on to new business.
New business, item L1, resolutions 2025-46 and 2025-47, advisory board report and levy and assessment against North Texas Street Business Improvement District. Resolution 2025-46, approving the report of the advisory board for calendar year 2024 and proposed budget for calendar year 2025 in connection with the North Texas Street Business Improvement District. And Resolution 2025-47, declaring intention to levy an assessment against businesses within the North Texas Street Business Improvement District for calendar year 2025, and setting a time and place for hearing objections thereto. And our presenter is Jennifer Rice, Real Estate Specialist 2.
Thank you, Karen. Sure this is on. Am I on? Okay. Good evening, Mayor Moy and members of the City Council. My name is Jennifer Rice. I'm the Economic Development Specialist for the City of Fairfield. Tonight, I'm here to present on two items regarding the North Texas Street Business Improvement District. As you may be aware, the City Council established the North Texas Street Business Improvement District in 1999 and the ability to levy assessments on the businesses within that district. The City Council also appointed the North Texas Street Business Association as the advisory board to make recommendations and manage the funds collected. Each year, the advisory board completes an advisory report and budget prior to levying assessments for the new year. The advisory board was certified by the city clerk's office on February 3rd, 2025, and provides a summary of activities completed in 2024, as well as goals for 2025. The budget shows an estimated $58,000 will be collected in 2025. This money will be spent on continued marketing and outreach efforts, community engagement events, and partnerships with the City of Fairfield on district improvement efforts. The association continues to contract with the Fairfield Sassoon Chamber of Commerce to assist with these services. There are no proposed increases in the assessment amount for 2025, and they continue to remain the same as was originally assessed in 2000. Tonight, staff recommends that City Council approve the advisory report and budget, as well as declare its intention to levy an assessment against the businesses located within the district for 2025. Staff will return to City Council on April 1st for the public hearing and to submit for your approval the agreement between the city and the North Texas Street Business Association to provide the services and activities laid out in the advisory report. That concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions. I also have Lisa Bonington with the Fairfield Sassoon Chamber of Commerce, who is also here to answer any questions you guys may have.
Thank you very much. I'm going to see first if there's anybody who would like to speak in the public.
We deal with, from the public? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. If you can go around to the
I don't
mic,
have any
there's-
cards. Did anyone wish to speak? No. And there are no people online.
Okay.
So I just, more of a statement, I guess, is that, are you publishing your wins? Or is there a newsletter that publishes the wins?
There is. The Chamber sends out a monthly newsletter.
That's the one I get. Is that being circulated throughout the
Yes.
NTSB? Okay.
Yeah, we
Thank you.
provide the Chamber a list of emails to help them with their distribution.
Thank you. Great job.
Any other questions, colleagues? All right, then. I will first, I guess I have two resolutions here. I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2025-46 first.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And that was unanimous.
And again, I didn't see who made the second. Oh, okay, you have to speak, not.
And then I need a motion to approve Resolution 2025-47.
So moved.
Moved by Doug. Second by Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and that was unanimous. Thank you. And we thank you very much, and thank you, Chamber. Thanks. So we'll move on to public hearings now, please.
Public hearing, item M1, ordinance 2025-03, amending Chapter 12-800, Section 12.804, infraction to misdemeanor, amending Chapter 12.800, Section 12.804, changing any violation of the ordinance from an infraction to a misdemeanor, and our presenter is our Police Chief, Dan Marshall.
All right, good evening, Mayor, Good evening, Mayor, Council, and community. I'm Dan Marshall, the Police Chief. If you guys recall, at the City Council retreat, we were asked to bring some suggestions and ideas on how we can help with homelessness and blight in the City of Fairfield. So one of the suggestions that I brought to you were to propose an ordinance change to our current 12.800 camping ordinance and personal storage, specifically 12.804, which is the violations section. And so, of course, it's going to do this to me. All right. So the proposed ordinance change would be to amend or revise the, where it says first violations, obviously, of this article. So historically, we've had this as an infraction, and after subsequent violations, it will become a misdemeanor. The challenge that we have had historically since going back to 2014 when we started the homeless intervention team is when we do these citations, they never make it to the courts, and there's really no teeth or accountability to help people get services or to get out of the situation they're in. And just a quick life story of that, we had one individual who I was dealing with over almost 10 years ago, 11 years ago, who still our homeless intervention team deals with. At one point, he owed the city of Fairfield $10,000 in fines. And obviously, in his situation, he's not really concerned about a collection process or a credit situation. And so unfortunately, there's nothing changing his behavior. And even back then, 10 years ago, we tried to get him into services, but you can see him out today. I'm not gonna mention his name, but he's out today collecting stuff just as fast as we can clean it up with the HEART team. So the proposal of this new ordinance would be to obviously make it a straight misdemeanor, from the beginning. There's obviously some concerns that come with that. What happens, discipline? I was asked by the newspaper this week, does that mean we're going to fill the jails? That is absolutely not what this is for. This is to help us get into places like the care court, to utilize Prop 36, which was recently passed, and try to get people services, get them court-mandated services. Even a misdemeanor can also be diverted by the judicial system. It could be removed from and expunged from their background. So the goal is to get people on a better track. And so right now, we're not having a lot of success with that, with the long-term unhoused. And so hopefully this will help out and help reduce blight and help get them into a situation. It will also go along with SB 43, which was passed a year ago, and we've been in a moratorium here in Solano County. As of next year, we're going to start seeing more people that are unhoused, probably going to the hospitals because of mental health and drug issues where they can't properly care for themselves. They're considered gravely disabled as that has changed. So this will help with a lot of different situations for us. And then again, officers will have the discretion. It's not an automatic mandatory arrest. We can still give someone a citation. We can give them a warning, first offense. We can book them if necessary, if it's likely to continue. And then again, we're seeing a ton of blight out there. This will help curb some of that. And the minor change in language would just really help all the way across the board. So my recommendation is, obviously this is for the first reading, but that we change this ordinance and amend it as suggested to make it a straight misdemeanor.
All right. Chief, I'm going to open up the public hearing.
And I have the one speaker, Monica Brown.
Okay. Coming up, Supervisor. You better have some answers for some mean questions I have for you. Just kidding.
I'm just going to say letter D, none of the above. Anyway.
I figured.
That's it. So I serve on the behavioral health. In fact, we just had a meeting. And anybody can fill out the paperwork and take a person that you think needs to go to CARE Act, and we're trying to get away from saying court. That was Gavin Newsom. Because anytime anybody who hears court thinks I'm automatically, going to be sent away. So I'm not happy with you guys even thinking about this without going through and learning what CARE Act will do. The particular person, sir, that you're talking about, anybody can fill out the paperwork, get the process going. You don't have to go through the paperwork of a misdemeanor and et cetera like that. Prop 1, that was part of the behind it. I'm going to miss the extra money that we used to get, but we were able to buy, oh my God, what is it called? Something Rose that, and we're going to have a place because we have to provide housing. But anybody can turn down housing. We don't mandate that you take our services. But CARE Act, so my thought would be, let me just throw this out. If you guys would postpone it, let me see if I can bring somebody in from the county and explain to all of you in some sort of a presentation of 15, 20 minutes what CARE Act can do before you go into this, misdemeanor, getting the paperwork done. Who knows if they're going to go where? But I think you're taking and putting a Band-Aid on something that doesn't need it. So that would be my thought. I just think there needs to be more of an understanding by you as leaders. So I would not vote for it.
I have a question, if you don't mind,
Yeah,
Supervisor.
of course. If I may is it legal? Can we do this?
Can she answer my question on CARE Court?
Yeah, you opened it as a public hearing, so.
Okay, now I just want to make sure.
Thank you.
I don't need anybody.
Because these guys will arrest me for a misdemeanor. Okay. Or maybe felony.
Okay. Yeah.
It is still up to the person whether they accept it. It is not mandatory. It's got a big hole that you can drive through.
You're right.
You know that I ran a homeless shelter.
I know.
And I know a lot about that.
Right.
Behavior.
Right.
And I know others here do too.
Yep.
it's not, that law is not written properly as far as I'm concerned. They can still stay out there. They can say, no, 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 after we go through everything. And so,
One of the things that does work, I think, is Laura's Law. When I first got elected in 2017, you had to opt in for Laura's Law. And so we got more success with that because it has a broader reach than what CARE Act is going to do. But you're absolutely correct. I think as a society, what we need to say is that some of these folks were always going to have to be mommy and daddy, that the wraparound services that we don't have need to be where we make sure you take your meds, where we do whatever. We have issues. So just FYI for you guys, I like to decorate on the 6th floor.
I know
And
that.
this person took my Christmas Baby Yoda and my Christmas Frosty the Snowman, which I always like playing in the morning. Okay, the goal is never to grow up. Most of you guys know me. We don't know, and he was conserved. We're not sure how he got out of that. So part of CARE Act can eventually get somebody into a conservatorship. Same thing with Laura's Law. So I think we need to look through on that. But, again, for me, I get everything you guys are saying. I understand. Vallejo, if you want an issue, I have the issue in Vallejo. Around here, it's not as bad as it could be.
we don't want it to be like
I know,
Vallejo.
I understand that.
I love my Vallejo friends.
I understand
But girl,
that.
no.
I understand everything that you're saying, I get it, but it also has to do with funding. So when do you get to a point where you owe, the money that the
Yeah.
chief mentioned?
Right.
And then what do you get out of it? So there is no way, and because as a society, we don't believe that we should lock up everybody. So, I
Thank
get
you.
it, I get it.
I know.
Don't think I don't get it, I do, but I just don't think that this is the right way. It just kind of has a bad taste in my
I
mouth.
think that you're going to be mad at me and call me Mayor Meanie from now on, but I still love you. Okay.
It is okay to disagree. It's
absolutely.
okay. We all look at it from different points of view. I'm just looking at it from, maybe you guys might want to try maybe with somebody in terms of Laura's Law. That's what I would do because that's a broader reach out. And we've had good success with that. So, but I get it. I understand.
Thank
I
you.
understand.
Thank you.
Mayor,
All right.
if I can.
Yes, please.
Just in my experience, I have had people conserved, and it is a heck of a process in this county. It's not very easy. We don't have the bed space for mental health right now, and so this is the challenges that we keep having, and I understand what Supervisor Brown is saying, but it is quite different in the real dealing with it generally every time.
But once we get that particular housing development set up and take care of making sure it's ADA, making sure we will have some of the bed, but we'll never have enough bed capacity. What is it? San Francisco spends $1 billion a year or something like that, and it hasn't happened. So I get it, guys, I do. They like being underneath the when it floods, bridges and stuff.
They like
Yeah.
to use drugs to numb themselves, and they hang out. And we have people who have murdered other people in
Yep.
Fairfield. The other day, anyway,
Yeah,
thank you
no,
very
I
much,
get it. Anyway,
Supervisor.
okay.
Thank you. All right, anybody else then, Madam Clerk? I'm going to close the public hearing and then.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. There are
Okay.
no other speakers.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing and then bring it back. Councilwoman Williams, okay? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I've never gone to the county and hijacked their meeting. I'll just say that. The care court. Well, first of all, let me back up and say that I did a tour with the HIT team, and it was very informative and very impressive. The way the HIT team, the HEART team, the homeless division work together to lift those that are in the street. And so I just want to start my comment there, and then from there go to, what is the pathway into the care court with the recent passage of Prop 36? What is the pathways to get folks help? What does that look like?
Well, there's a couple of options. One is if it's a drug-related situation, then it could be mandated treatment, and that is one situation through Prop 36 that could be helpful. If it's mental health, there's multiple options. If they're a veteran, or if it's in the care court situation, they're volunteering, they want to do it. But as the mayor mentioned, a lot of this is voluntary, and if we don't have the backing of the court mandates, then a lot of the people that we deal with that you see every day and on the streets are the people that do not want to come and make those changes. It will take a lot of years to get them. I will never say never, because I've seen some that I thought wouldn't, and they have changed in the last decade and got off the streets. But the challenge is if we can't get some kind of court mandated procedure, or again, SB 43 is going to be another opportunity for people that are gravely disabled, where we can get some mandates to conservatorship, as a supervisor was talking about. But we have to get these people in front of somebody to get them this help, and it's not working this way with citations that are going nowhere, essentially.
Can you give us an example of the way it works today or last year, when people are given citations and what that looks like, that reoccurring? I know you gave us an example of years ago, but something more
They're never
recent.
getting to the courts.
They just never get to the
They're
courts.
not getting, they're being diverted, or they're just sent over for collections. That's part of the challenge that we're having with this section is violation, and then it would become a misdemeanor. But the problem is it's not ever getting to the court to be adjudicated. And so we're not seeing anything out of these. We're just writing paper citations for nothing, essentially.
And then have anyone gone through, have you referred people to the care court to date?
I'll look to Sam. Have we referred anybody yet?
No, we have not. There's a lot of medical information that we don't have in the police department that we would need. We have worked with Dr. Pottinger.
Go over.
So we have not, as a police department, referred anyone to the care courts to date. We've looked into it. We've attended training with the county a couple of different times. In researching it, there's a lot of medical information that we don't have access to due to it being a HIPAA violation as police officers that we would need to know. An example of that would be an individual that has multiple 5150s or has been involuntarily committed for 14 days. We don't have that in our system to check. So we have talked with the County Hope team and Dr. Pottinger specifically, and some of the other members of HIF's staff. And that's something that the county team is aware of and is able to look into. The issue is it's overly cumbersome for a police officer on the street responding to a call for service to go into all of that information. That is information that can be had at a later date. Sometimes it's helpful to go through the court process.
Thank you.
And just to add to that, we also aren't allowed access to the homeless management information system either. So our police officers can't touch any of that information. So we don't know where they've been or where they're going unless we can somehow get a hold of our staff Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So that's the other challenge we have.
Why don't you have access to
It's the rule. They
HM?
don't let us. I've been fighting for it for 10 years. So
Is that something that other police departments have access to?
I'm not for sure on that.
Okay.
The answer to that is no, unless you've been trained and you're a homeless server or in the industry like Sam, you may not access that. And it's very strict for a lot of reasons, for privacy. Yeah. So no, nobody can look.
Thank you, Chief, for that report. And as you know, Councilmember Williams and I are on the Care Act Courts Subcommittee for the City Council, and we've started our work on that committee, and we're using Alameda County as a case study because they rolled out their Care Act Courts last December. And so we're meeting with people who were a part of that rollout, judges, administrators, mental health people, et cetera. And I do want to have a point of clarification in terms of what Supervisor Monica Brown made a mention with the Care Act courts, that anybody can take somebody to Care Act courts, and that's not quite accurate, at least in Alameda County. There are standing requirements, meaning you have to have standing to go into a care court. So for instance, I can't go drag somebody off the street who's in my neighborhood, me, Pam Bertani, or anyone else, and say, you're going to court, buddy, right now, let's go. Can't do that. It's my understanding that family members, healthcare providers, county mental health workers, first responders, and social services providers can petition a person to be considered for Care Court Act. So there is a process. There is a process, and someone must have standing to submit a petition to the court to say, please consider this person for Care Court Act involvement. And if your name is not one of those that I just stated, I have no standing, you have no standing to do that. So this would, I think, facilitate our first responders in helping get these people, our residents who are living on the streets, into that program for consideration for help through that process. And the judge makes the final determination on whether or not this person will even be eligible for the Care Court Act. But until we can get them in the door, they're not even close to being considered. And oh, by the way, there's one other category of people who can petition the court, and that's the homeless person themselves. So the homeless person can go to the court, fill out a petition, and say, please help me. But we're dealing with, as you know, Chief, in our city, a growing number of homeless residents who don't have the mental capacity to do that. That's the whole point. They're not going to say, come and help me, because they don't have the mental capacity to make that decision. And that's where Care Court steps in. So, Supervisor Brown, I understand exactly what you're saying. We're not going to, the plan here is not to lock everybody up. I just want to be clear that there are only certain categories of people who can initiate the Care Court process or who have standing. And I think that we would be remiss not to allow our police officers, our first responders, to fulfill their capacity on that list of standing of individuals who can actually commence that process. So I know that our chief of police, our chief of fire, and our first responders all have a heart for this. Fairfield, we have a track record that is bar none in Solano County on this. So I trust our first responders because they've been in this game many, many years. Before it was even popular to mention homeless intervention, we were doing it, leading the way in the city of Fairfield for the entire county. So I 100% support your proposed amendment to this ordinance, and thank you for your thoughtful consideration of this.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. And Councilman Doug.
Yes, thank you. Stole the words right out of my mouth, Vice Mayor. Everything that you said was accurate. There is a standing requirement. The one thing that you didn't say was that we don't have the right, actually, I do. I'm a case manager for the Superior Court of California, and that's part of one of my jobs is what I do.
Well, excuse me. I stand corrected.
But other than that, everything you said was accurate. Sam's been to our court. He's come and visit with us. We have 7 courts, all set up, ready to go, and the only way in the 22 years I've been doing this that I've shown is we do need a little more teeth than them hoping that they come in by themselves, because they just don't. I think that with this ordinance, it's going to get them to where they can come to my office and I can assess them and I can start helping them and start giving them the choices that they might not even know that are there. Also, what the Vice Mayor stated was so accurate is a lot of times what we need is them to sit down for a minute to get clear enough for that to even happen. And it's unfortunate that it has to happen this way and sometimes, but as a professional in this field for 20 years, I always give an option. You can go to detox, or you can go to crisis. You can do something to get out of the situation and the environment you're in, and they choose not to almost 100% of the time. So I'm also 100% in favor of this option, because it will start the process, and it will. We have all licensed people, from mental health all the way down, ready to help with this and do their case management with the courts. Like I said, Sam's been over, he's visited us, he's got a little tour of the place, and we're getting the funding and set up for even more of it. But getting them in to be there, getting them cleaned up and in there is the first step, and they don't volunteer to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Tonneson.
Yeah, thank you. Sounds like my colleagues are certainly on the same page that I am. You know, we've done the same thing long enough, and why not try something different? I've been on a few ride-alongs, so, and when I've gone on ride-alongs at nighttime, like on the July 4th, the last thing, and I'm preaching to the choir with the cops here, but the last thing a cop's going to do is go clean up a homeless camp when he's got a DV, he's got officer needs assistance, he's got, you know, there's a myriad of calls that are way more important than this. But during certain times, this is going to be great, because if you're taking someone off the streets and taking all their stuff, and 3 days later they're back on the streets, and then 3 days after that they're off again, they're going to get tired of that and they're going to go somewhere else, I believe. So I, like my colleagues, I'm totally behind you on this. I think it's a great presentation, and Madam Vice Mayor, you are so much more elegant than Doug. That's all for me.
Councilman, do you have anything that you wanted to add?
I think everything has been said.
Mayor, if I can just put something on record just with
Absolutely.
us. We are the county seat, so that means we have both jails, right? So we don't gain by giving people misdemeanors and booking them like other cities do. And so for us, it really is about getting some teeth to get assistance and get services for people. And I know it sounds bad, oh, we're going to up the crime and now they're going to get a misdemeanor, but it really is to try to get some help. Rather, because right now it is, to what Scott said, is the definition of insanity. We've been doing the same thing for 10 years and it's not working, so.
Correct. And again, I would point out that the CARE courts, or whatever we want to call them, the CARE Act, has a hole that we could drive a semi through. If you go through all of this, the person can say, I don't think so, not today, and it's not happening. So one of the things that I'm going to advocate for here is getting that law tuned up. What I mean is take away that little bit of freedom. When people are so sick, and we all have seen it, some of us have worked with it, and they cannot take care of themselves. I had lunch with a friend the other day, who's been my friend since 6th grade. And she inherited a building on Webster Street from her family. It's an office building. The other day, last month, her brother went to the building in the morning, and there was a dead homeless person face down. They took a picture and they showed me, and of course they called police and everything. But I want to say that it is inhumane for us to continue doing what we're doing because it has failed. Not just us, I'm talking about the state, all right? And so we fall under that. But what if we could have had that person, he started fires, or he could have been arrested a long time ago, and maybe got him some help. Maybe he'd be alive. But instead, he died face down in the entryway to an office. And everything in me says how wrong that is. And I can't stand seeing it. It breaks my heart. I talked to a woman the other day out in front of Rayleigh's, and she is homeless. She's a meth addict, she told me, and I could tell because he didn't have any teeth. And I asked her, I said, can I call somebody to get you some help? And she said, no. She says, I'm going to die out here, and I'm happy with that. And that woman was you could see she's a beautiful woman. She had a soft heart. I talked to her for like 20 minutes. Please let me help you. Nope. She says, I'm going to go find some meth here. She was begging for money. And that's what she did. And I'm thinking, I asked her, do you have family anywhere? She says, yeah, in the Midwest. I said, but what if you could go back with your family? Would they have you? She goes, probably. She goes, but I'm going to die out here. She says, I said, where are you from? Winters? That's another thing. Every other person I talk to now who's homeless, and I try to talk to them probably more regularly than you'd like to know, Chief, but they're not from here. They're coming from elsewhere. But they're human beings, and it's time that we in this city, the county seat, do something different. I appreciate what everybody said, especially like Councilman Doug and Councilwoman Williams, who know. Yes, you had a comment.
Well, I haven't made any public statements, but people here know I have been putting together a bill to just putting it out. I sent you a copy of it. I'm getting our city managers helping me with it. I have Commissioner Rados, and I also have, hopefully soon, Judge Getty. We're all going to be putting it together, making it a little easier for conservatorship and solving this problem, because what you said is so accurate about what kind of society leaves its people that can't take care of themselves laying in the gutter. I think we owe it to them as much as anything else. So I am putting that bill together. You read it, Mayor?
Yep, I have some
so far,
suggestions,
so good.
and it looks good.
But I'm working on that at the city, state, and federal level. I've spoke a little bit to our legislature about it, and I'm hoping that it'll make things better for everybody.
And I'm with you all the way. So that's it, and I want to thank you particularly, you who have a huge heart for everybody, no matter where they come from. And Chief, you obviously were the first sergeant on the HIT team, homeless intervention team. We could have used a different moniker, but whatever. And so I appreciate you. You've had patience when I've been riding you like a rented mule. Let's do something else, you know. And I appreciate your patience and the patience of professionalism of everybody out there that deals with this. We can't have this continue. So I pray, and I do, that this will work, and I appreciate the work so much. I tell you all the time about things, and it breaks my heart. It can make me cry, but I can't. Otherwise, Monica won't call me Mayor Meany, so I'm not going to do it. So anyway, I will entertain a motion then.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and that was unanimous. And so that was that. And we already got that. So before you speak about our friend Eugene, I also have been asked to close this meeting in honor of Tricia Curran. She passed away from type 1 diabetes, and she worked for our city. Was a great employee for more than 22 years. And sadly, that horrible disease took her. So, and then Councilman Tonneson, if you could please tell us more about Eugene Ray.
Yeah, that's sad news about Tricia too. They're both way too young.
Yes.
But yeah, we're all gonna miss Gene. I guess the funeral arrangements will be done soon, but yeah, he was a great man. Like I said, a real estate icon, martial arts icon. He was a grandmaster, which is, I think, the highest level you can go. But anyways, we're all gonna miss him, and like to close in his honor. And thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, and thank you, everybody. Thank you, staff, who always sits through these boring meetings, standing ready for us to ask you a question. Thank you, and good night.